It is the Sick Podcast Anvil Show coming back to you. Yes, Chris Ballard spoke today, and JT was the topic of the entire discussion. But oh, yeah, by the way, we also had cuts down to 53, and man, were they wild. But before all that, Sammy, go ahead and play us in, please.
Turn up your volume. Because you're about to listen to The Sick Podcast. And Bill Show.
Intercepted! Marlon Jackson! Marlon's got it! We're going to the Super Bowl! We're going to the Super Bowl! Marlon Jackson with the interception! He picked off Tom Brady!
The sickest Indianapolis Colts podcast. It's gonna be sick.
Yes, sir. It's going to be sick. Sammy, go ahead and bring the boys in.
What it do, y'all?
What's happening?
Look at Mad Max over there in the middle. Hey, Mad Max. You all right?
Yeah, I'm fucking great.
First off, I think I'm supposed to be in the middle. Sammy, can you put me in the middle? It just
Don't do
looks
it.
like-
Sammy, Sammy, you don't have to listen to him.
Thank you, Sammy. So tonight, just bear with us. We got a lot going on. Some goober decided to have a fantasy football draft while we're live. Won't say no
I'm
names.
sorry, dog.
Got him my
I
left,
think it might be the obese Lex Luthor over here.
but it's okay. That's neither here or there. No, in all actuality, let's get for real. To start the show, Sammy, I would like you to start the Chris Ballard presser because we're just gonna jump right into JT and what he had to say about it.
Y'all, this week it's always hard. It's never easy. Anytime and we talk about this every year, but like anytime you cut the team down to 53, then eventually your practice squad, I mean, you're getting rid of some guys that, you've developed relationships with, who've been a part of your team, and it's never easy. I don't care what anybody says. Like you never get to a point where you're just callous and don't think about the other individual. These are human beings. This is their dream. This is what they want to do for life in their lives. And you're telling them right now, hey, you're not making it. So it's tough. I'm pleased, where we're at. We've got work to do unequivocally. We're not by any means a finished product right now. But we've got a lot of work to do. We're young. We're young in some certain spots, which I think you all know. But it'll be fun to watch these guys grow and play together and grow as a team. All right, so now let's address the elephant, Jonathan, because I want to talk, and I want y'all to hear it because I know you're going to have questions. Just so y'all know, and I want everybody to know, Jonathan is a well-respected and a really good human being and a damn good football player. I think we all know this. All right? Things like this happen. I tell every rookie that comes in, there's going to be a point when we disagree, and it's usually about money. And it's going to be hard. And just know that doesn't change my care level for you. I care deeply for Jonathan Taylor. I have great respect for Jonathan Taylor. Our relationship, I would tell you, is look, even when it gets hard, I won't quit on the relationship. I won't do it. I think too much of the young man. I think too much of what he's given our organization and how hard he's played for us. And what sucks, I mean, the situation, I'm not going to sit here and give you some rosy picture like, oh, this is just, everything's okay. No, it sucks. It sucks for the Colts. It sucks for Jonathan Taylor. And it sucks for our fans. It does. And it's where we're at, and we've got to work through it. And we're going to do everything we can to work through it. Relationships are repairable. They're repairable. Like I don't. When guys get emotional and take a stance, you got to have some you got to be able to work through those. I mean, if you ever in your life had a good friend, a spouse, family member that you've had a disagreement with, and then you draw a line in the sand and say, this person's out of my life. Well, no. I mean, like, how do you do that? No, you work through it.
You good
And
there,
hopefully
Sammy?
you come out the other side better.
Okay. And some things that I really want to highlight so we can like really target how we're going to direct traffic tonight is for everyone that had a position on the relationship is definitely ugly between both sides, but they thought that it was almost completely, lights out, it's over, it's not going to happen. I think he addressed that. I don't think that's the case at all. Now, I don't want to say I'm right because who knows if I'm right or if I'm wrong. But what I said a few weeks ago, and I think this whole panel was kind of in agreement. They almost let him test the waters, in my opinion, just to see, like, hey, this is not going to be a smooth transaction because we're not giving you up for free. Chris will go on to say that later in the interview, and then on top of that, I think he was also telling you like you need to also understand that the value that you may have marketed yourself at it's not there. And that may hurt as a player, but in truth be told, like people have to invest and want to invest in that position. And it's been clear across the entire board, no matter who you are and what you've done, that's just not going to happen. So the repairability of this whole relationship now comes back to we have never wanted to leave or we've never wanted you to leave. And I understand that you were upset, which I'm gonna get into how that all came to like a light bulb moment for me. But I think that Chris Ballard, without giving too many details, addressed the entirety of this. So there should not be any more speculation. So now, boys, I open the floor to you. How do you feel about everything that's been reported in every different circle versus what you've actually heard with your own ears and how Chris Ballard is looking into this thing? I'll start with you, Pat.
I agree with everything you just said. And if you go back and you watch that, you can really see the passion in his voice, his facial expressions, where he was talking about you can repair a relationship. We value Jonathan. We're not just going to let him walk out the door. Those two statements right there tells me they don't want to move on from Jonathan. It was nothing on the organization side to kickstart all this. So he said he was going to rehab his tail off, get back on the field, and we'll go from there. And that's what he's been saying this whole time. That's what he said when he said there hasn't even been negotiations even started yet.
Mm-hmm.
Why JT and his camp wanted to jump the gun on this, I don't know. But I really and truly hope that he can fix this relationship because JT is loved in this city and by this fan base, for several reasons, though. It's not just because he's a star player, but he's a star human being, too. We want that caliber of personality on our team. We want that C on that man's chest that upholds morals, that upholds values, and he shows it on the field and off the field.
That's fair.
And I've said it before that I've reiterated that Chris said that he builds from the draft and he takes care of his people. He's shown that he does. The only one that I can't think of that he didn't take care of was Bobby Okereke. And according to him, he was asking way too much for that position for what he produced. So he let him walk. There was no bad blood between them. Nobody said anything negative about it. They just couldn't get together on their numbers. So they let him walk. He was going to pay him, but Chris pays what he thinks that person in that position is valued at. Bottom line, he doesn't go over it. We've said it before on this show. He said it on this show before.
That's fair. Okay.
So I don't know. I hate all the drama with our team. I always will. I'm ready for it all to be over with. so we can get on to chasing that championship.
It's interesting too how it's like miraculously become us here lately.
Ain't
I
it
mean,
though?
yeah, it's strange. Like we've never, I don't say never, but for the most part, our team has not been in the limelight in a negative light during my time of rooting for them. Now, every now and then there's a one off, right? Like, I mean, I remember what it was like when Edgerrin James left. I remember what it was like losing Marshall Faulk, and of course, losing Peyton when we didn't resign him, and then losing what's his name? Andrew Luck, of course, to retirement. So yeah, we've had our ugly days, but just always in the light. Nah, man. Like, and so, like I said, this one's gotten ugly. But Country, I'm gonna kick this to you because this is what something that was very interesting. For all the noise we've heard since last week about what the trade potential will look like and who these teams were. Well, the truth in the matter was it was always the Dolphins. And then later it snuck in there that it was Green Bay. They were like the unknown team, the mystery team. But this is what's very interesting, and I want you to tackle this. It's like the Dolphins GM, Chris Greer, said that they never exchanged offers for Jonathan Taylor. They only had exploratory talks. And then it was also reported that there was never an offer higher than a second round pick for Jonathan Taylor. So kind of going into what I was saying earlier, that Jonathan had to kind of find out the hard way. And then I don't know what all these quote unquote experts knew that nobody else knew. But it's like, where did y'all get that information that all of these like almost deals was happening? So now that you know kind of like the story, how do you feel about that? And I know how passionate you were about you didn't think JT was going to get this, that, and the other. But what does this tell you now going forward that no team really put it out there like that?
I think it was really just all about mainly clickbait for a lot of these organizations, on the internet. I mean, it was just speculation after speculation. Yet just today we found the truth out, like you said, Claude, about the Dolphins not even really negotiating legitimately. It was just basically hearsay between the two. It was just, a little back and forth, shooting the gander, if you will. But what that says to me is, the Colts knew that they weren't going to get what they were asking. I think they knew that from the get-go. Even though the Packers were that dark horse that was coming out to secure talks about Jonathan Taylor and all that stuff. But I still think, even the Packers, we still don't know what the deal with the Packers was, what they offered. We probably never will. Ballard was real clear that he wasn't going to go into, what do you call it?
The trade offers.
Yes.
Oh, yeah, he wouldn't go into details about them. Yeah.
Yeah. He said he wasn't going to go into details, but no trade offers, no contract talk, stuff like that. But what this tells me is that the Colts, obviously, like Chris Ballard kept saying, we didn't want to get rid of JT at all. I don't know if it was like a lesson learned type thing now after listening to Chris, but I think he was just wanting to be like, okay, look, if we're the better that relationship or to keep it really stable, go out there and look, see what you can find. And from my sources, from what I've read and from what I've gathered and what people have told me, it was really his agent that really wanted him to go to Miami and pushed him to go to Miami. I don't know if that's true, but that's just what I've gathered over, my little sights and ears and stuff like that. So, I mean, I know I was hardcore about, JT being here or not being here. But deep down, I really do want him here. Like Pat said, he's a good source for this community. He's loved, he's cared for, and Ballard was right. He takes care of the ones that he's drafted and everything else. So, just everything that's been going on, everything that's been said, I just really think it's been just letting him do his thing respectfully, not teaching him a lesson, not just showing off or whatever. Because everyone thought the Colts were being lack of a better word, an asshole to Jonathan Taylor, and Ballard showed that it really wasn't. It was just some some testing going on. So bottom line is they want him here. A lot of the fans obviously want him here, and they're going to do what they can to get it done. If not, then They can't.
Yeah, I think some keys to take from this is number one, he addressed the fact that their relationship is going to be their relationship is repairable, and the two things can be separated: the player and the person, and the business side. Then he also, I think, he tackled the fact that they're not buying into like is he holding in and injury faking, like they're not taking any shots at his character. And then he also talked about what I mean, like he's not quitting on this at all. So someone asked the easy thing would be just to let him go, and get it out of your hair. But he was like, he's too valuable. We're just not going to let him walk out the door for nothing. So here's what I had, like my light bulb moment. And I was like, no, that can't be what really happened and what I'm thinking. But what I'm getting at is he was asked the question like 3 or 4 different times about why didn't we just pay him if we value him? Like everybody wants this like magic answer. And you kind of have to
Yeah.
connect the dots. Here's connecting the dots. Our team was 4-12 last year, 4-12-1 or whatever the hell it was. But the moral of the story is basically this. If you did not walk into, or if you did not end the season last year with a contract that was needed to bring you back to the team, he wasn't paying anybody. Like, I don't give a damn who you are. He wasn't going to pay anybody right now. I think this is a no kidding. Like, last year was an absolute joke. It was a terrible, terrible outing for this organization. And right now, everyone's value to this team with the brand new system could be questionable. This is what I'm picking up. Now, unfortunately, our best player, right, Jonathan Taylor, is the player that we're talking about who wants the contract. And so that's why I think you go back to Jim Irsay's first real comments: timing, timing, timing. And where that's coming from now that I've put it all together, and this is just Clyde speaking, so I could be completely in left field, but it was like literally he kept focusing on new coaches, new system. He really has to see if he has built this team with the mind of primarily Frank Wright. Does that translate to now Shane Steichen? Now, everybody might be like, oh, well, I mean, come on, it's Jonathan Taylor. He can play anywhere. And that may be absolutely true. But the moral of the story is you can play anywhere, but are you going to put forth a better product on this season than we did last year? And that's everybody. Now, we're not going to knock him for the injury. I mean, he had the injury. He missed 7 whole games. But to come back off of that and then be like, yeah, you are my best player. Let me just throw you a big chunk of money. And for all intents and purposes, you didn't deserve this because A, your contract's not up, and B, like, you didn't give me much last year, but I'm gonna do it anyway because you're my best player. That ain't Chris Ballard. And I think that came to a head in this.
Real
and
quick.
like, I've never seen him as frustrated in a presser than this one right here.
Oh, I mean, he was so frustrated. He was lost for words, bro.
Yeah,
like you never see him go into a presser like that.
Yeah, I was like, it is not that he's not prepared, but he's like, how do I answer these questions appropriately without becoming something that he's not. Like, he didn't want to become like, like, okay, he's clearly frustrated, he's irritable, he's just flapping at the gums. He didn't want to be that dude. And you could see that in his face. But at the same token, you could tell that he was annoyed. And so that's when it came to a head for me. I was like, no, I get what's going on right now. Literally, this has nothing. And so what I'm trying to say, this literally has nothing, and I mean nothing, in my opinion, to do with the name Jonathan Taylor. It could have been Shaq Leonard. It could have been Quentin Richardson. It could have been any one of our other all-pros who could have came to this situation right now like, hey, pay me. Knowing that they're not really up for a contract, but hey, pay me. And the answer would have been the same. And I think that this is, when you want to say somebody sticking to their philosophy, sticking to their guns, this is that. Because the simple thing could be like, all right, thump the checkbooks, let's get her done. But then you fall back into saying, well, all of this was for naught. It's really like, are you bought in? Then show me. And if you're bought in and you show me, then you'll definitely get what you're worth. Period. Like, no questions asked there. And that's really what I'm picking up from this. Thoughts on that, boys?
It's definitely an old school mentality that he's showing. Prove to me that prove to me your worth, and I will give you your worth, if not more. I mean, it's just like you said, he's sticking to his guns. He's true to who he is. If Ballard does not get no credit for a GM, you can't discredit him for being such a good man and a human being, for sticking to his morals, sticking to his guns as who he is. It's plain and simple. It's black and white. He is who he is. He's got a mindset. He's got a goal for this organization, as he does every year for this organization, to make it better. His biggest key is patience. Even though he didn't say that, that's what I gathered from this. We got to continue to be patient. We got to continue to work things out. We got to continue to keep these relationships intact. And he, and like Pat said too, he's so passionate. He loves it here. We've talked to him. We can tell he's passionate about Indianapolis. We can tell that he's passionate about these players and their well-being and their families and et cetera, et cetera. He's so passionate. And when something like this happens, he even said it too. I haven't encountered this type of situation in my career. Neither has this organization really to this caliber. So it's new, and that's what makes it even more frustrating. And that's what everybody needs to understand. We've never dealt with something this dramatic before. Yeah, we had the Shaquille thing, we had the Kenny thing, we had the Andrew Luck thing, James Falk. The list goes on.
But when you start saying it,
yeah, but nothing to this caliber though. Nothing this dramatic. I mean, I know it was different eras, and I know it was different times, but it was nothing this dramatic.
I don't know, man. Andrew Luck thing was kind of wild, especially with the calf that started in like January, February, and then it ended with him retiring in August. It wasn't this dramatic, but it was weird.
I was talking about as far as like negotiations and contracts.
Oh,
stuff.
Okay.
Yeah, the Andrew Luck thing, yeah, that was that was a shot at hard line in the world. But yeah, what I was saying was like contract talks. Like we never had that type of drama in this organization before, ever.
Oh, that's fair. That's 1,000% fair. And I mean, I think you got to, before I kick it back over to you, Pat, to kind of close out this thing, I think the one thing that you really have to understand when it comes to, just what's going on is not that we're trying to prove a point, but it's literally like there's a lot of unknown with this team. And this is the thing too, like, and I think, and that's funny because as I think about it, I'm like, we're not going to say blame, but who would be, to call, to the front of the room, so to speak, to answer the questions about that team? It's the man that was talking today. So literally, I think that in a lot of ways, like this is a way to like kind of like humble himself, and JT plays into that because damn, JT just happens to be probably his best draft pick maybe ever, or it's right up there. It's probably 1A, 1B. But it's like, I'm not trying to prove a point with this kid, but I really need to make sure that all I've put into this, is it as, easily transferable to the next coach as it was built for Frank Reich? Because that was built for Frank Reich. All of this was built for Frank Reich. And and again, I'm not saying that JT can't play anywhere and he can't play into this system, but it's just like, I need to see if this whole team is even bought into this. Them boys they got a lot to show him. And unfortunately, but fortunately, if you already have a paycheck and you're secured through an X amount of time, why are we talking? You know what I'm saying? And that's where JT falls. Literally, you have a paycheck and you've already been secured through a certain date. Why are we talking? Go out there and play. And I'm usually the last one to be like, oh, just shut up and play. But right now, I'm getting it. Yeah, go play. And then let's circle the wagons after this. And then and like he said, and the key in this that people probably won't pick up, he was like, look, yeah, I'm not afraid to play the player when he's worth it, in a lot of words. I'm very much paraphrasing, but anybody who got doubt about X amount of dollars is too much, he's like, look, we've paid the players the deserving rate several times. Quentin Nelson, Darius Leonard at the time, now Shaquille Leonard. So I think he took that off the table pretty early. Like, don't make this about money. So right now it's about philosophy, maybe even principle. Nobody deserved nobody, and this sounds shitty, but the way we played as an organization as a whole, nobody should be talking to me about money right now, especially if you already got a secure contract. Pat, you got it. To close out Chris Ballard.
I like the level of professionalism that he's shown through the whole thing. And Clyde, you mentioned it. Acosta, you mentioned it too. Say he does say, all right, don't want the drama. You're my best player, my best draft choice I've ever grabbed. All right, here's your bag. And then he stays out all year long because of that ankle or something else. Well, he's going to look like a damn fool for paying him right away.
Mm-hmm.
He still has to keep this team's goals in mind at all times and build the best roster that he possibly can with the cap that he has. There is no room for error. Now, can you make an error on the draft? Yeah, because Chris gets friggin' 37 drafts every year because he manipulates me. So he can afford to be wrong and the lower rounds of the draft. But a lot of times he's not wrong. He's picking up great players. But if he's wrong on paying somebody the bag, like JT wants, I doubt if he gets another job.
Pat, I'm not sure if you're cool enough to say bag. So for that, I'm gonna Omaha your ass.
You were just looking for a reason. Dirty son of a.
I'm just kidding, man.
Go ahead and give it to me. Get it out of the way.
Because you saying bag is kind of cringy. You're like dancing. You're dancing between baby boomer and like millennial and weird. Actually, it's more like baby boomer and Gen X. I don't know. It's crazy, but
I know we're close to baby boomer.
Stop saying bag.
Bammy
boomer all day, baby.
You're making me uncomfortable.
Bruh.
Anyway, continue. I'm sorry, but he kept saying giving him the bag. I'm like,
well,
a 17-year-old. I don't like it.
Sending him all that money. Everybody knows what I'm talking about. And I'm just saying it because that's how friggin' Twitter's been talking. Pay the man his bag. Whatever that was, a bag of shrimp, a bag of Tostitos, what the hell?
That's exactly why you can't say bag.
I know. I'll stop saying it, you ass bag. Can I say that? Yeah, that definitely came from my generation.
I mean, it's better than sack.
You know what? This is where everybody got to chill out and take a knee. All right, Pat, finish your statements about Chris before we move on.
I was done.
Okay, excellent. Okay, so something else was going on behind scenes. This is, oh man, this is strange, bro. This is strange. Everybody was worrying about the 53-man roster and what it would look like, and this is why we had this conversation a couple weeks back, and I was like,
us included.
Yeah, this is what I'm saying, because we had this conversation. I was like, is too much talent a bad thing? Now I know Pat, he's gonna go with the philosophy competition, and I get that. But sometimes, like I've said before, you need some dudes on there that's probably gonna go back to T-Mobile and work at a kiosk because, like he said, it's hard. You got to make tough decisions. We cut Darius Rush, and that's probably the one that like got my eyes like bugged out. I was like, wait, what? Like we drafted this guy high, 5th rounder. I'm gonna say high, but 5th rounder, knowing he had talent, knowing he had length, athleticism, had a crazy RAS score. And before the dude could even probably even settle, like, man, I got cut, KC was like, but no, you didn't. Come see me. We got a spot for you. And I'm really shocked by that. But then Chris, he targeted this too in his presser. He was like, hey, look, somebody asked, hey, Darius Rush, surprise cut. And he was like, well, what happened? He was like, Jalen Jones. And we've already talked about Jalen Jones, and Jalen Jones has been great. You know what I mean? So yes, we will remember Darius Rush with his pick 6 and his other plays that he made during the preseason. But yeah, that was a surprise cut. And then another surprise cut. I mean, what was going on with the receivers, right? So before we get to the weird cut, we'll talk about Isaiah in a minute. And I'm not even talking about that, but it's like, Mike, didn't make the 53 man, right?
He made the
We
practice squad.
Yeah, we cut all the other guys. Perryman, we cut Winfrey, we cut Amari Rogers, and everybody's like, wait a minute, we coming into this thing
DJ
with 4
Montgomery.
receivers? Yeah,
Yep.
DJ Montgomery. So basically, we walked in with 4 receivers. You know, the 3 that we know: Pittman, Downs, Pierce, and then we had McKenzie. But then McKenzie got cut or waived today briefly. But that's a masterful play, and we'll talk about that here in a second. That was a masterful play by Chris Ballard.
I don't know how accurate this was that I read, but somebody had posted that it's only rookies that get cut that can be picked up on the waiver wire. Vets do not have to agree to that pickup. So
Yeah, something
McKenzie,
like that.
yeah, so
Something like that.
and it made sense because when at the time McKenzie had already come back, signed, they got him back, and it made a lot of sense. So it was probably a planned thing. Hey, we're not going to sign you just yet because this is what I'm doing, but once this is done, you're coming right back.
No,
Are
yeah,
you,
and
are
and
you
that's what
okay
it
with
was.
that? And he says, okay, sure, yeah, I'm cool with that.
Yeah, because that's what, hey, man, I went and searched. I was looking at some guys that had some philosophy in it, because immediately everybody was like, what the hell happened? And then this guy from Colts Report, he came right back and he was like, come to think about it, based off of, and this is before it even happened, but he's like, based off the injury that happened to oh man, now it's slipping my mind. Yeah, Jelani. Yeah, he tore his hamstring. And so we kept all those tight ends to include him because we could not afford to cut him pre-roster. So now we could IR him and then gain that spot back. So that's why he was saying during the presser, he was like, "Oh, we're working on it. We're just doing some, I think he called roster. He's
Roster
like
mechanics.
roster mechanics. There you go. Thank you for that." And so immediately I was like, "Yep, this
Perfectly
dude is
said.
probably right." And then that's exactly what it was. So again, there's stuff about football that you think you know until you don't know, and then you do know. So I learned something new today. But let's just talk
And
about
now
the roster as a whole. All right. And I'm sorry, I'm slipping because I don't have the roster pulled up. Does anybody have the roster pulled up? Let's go down. Let's, because we're just gonna
We
run
could
down.
easily pull it up.
Yeah, I
we're
don't
gonna
have
run
it.
down here.
Yep, I got it.
Of course you don't, Pat. When do you ever have anything I need you to have?
I got it.
Every day, sir. Why don't you have what you need you to have?
Because
Are
I
you
thought
not
I
a
had
grown
it.
ass man? You going to rely on another man to get you what you need?
Can we move on?
What is
Negative
wrong with
Nancy?
you, bro? This is why, you know what? Never mind.
It is. It is why you love me.
I got
All
it.
right, here it is. I got it too now. All right, quarterback group, pretty straightforward, right?
Yep. The
Yeah,
three was obviously here the whole time.
yeah, exactly. And for the longest, we talked about this before. For the longest, the Colts would always kind of carry 2, but I think that for whatever reason, we're not going to cut Lil Sammy off.
Sammy's talented, man.
Lil Sammy's like that shrimp that's at the bottom of your net. Like, oh, look at that little guy. Keep him too. You know what I'm saying? Like, oh, keep Lil Sammy the shrimp. It's cool. Yeah, we caught a bunch of catfish in a little
I
Sammy.
can't believe you just called him a shrimp.
not in a negative way, but it's just like you want to cut the guy, and then he's like, man, he's okay. Keep him, So yeah, Sammy the shrimp. If Sam ever comes on here, Sammy, that is not disrespect. Okay, please know that that's not disrespect. Man, who took Jonathan Taylor? Because I was gonna do that. What an asshole league I'm in, and it's drafting doing a live show. Sorry.
Oh my gosh.
All right, let's get to the backs. All right, so 1, 2, 3. The way they have it listed: Zach Moss, Evan Hull, Deion Jackson. Do y'all think that that's 1, 2, 3?
I don't think it should be
until JT suits back up.
Well, you notice I didn't say his name, but I'm saying, do you think that's 1, 2, 3? Focus on
that. Right now, starting day 1 or week 1, no, because Moss is still out. I don't see him being back.
And here's the way I see it. Here's the way I see it. You have, in order, you have Jackson, Hull, Moss.
Jackson,
for right,
Hull, Moss.
For now. Jackson is your most familiar player right now in this offense, in this offensive backfield. Even though it's under a new regime, you have a familiar back. Let him take the lead snaps for now. Let him take first team rep. Hull can come in. We've seen what he can do. He shined that last game, looked good. So I think that's the order for now. When Moss comes back, I think it actually should be Moss, Jackson, Hull. Unless proven differently until Moss comes back.
I'm a wild here, man. I want to see Hull. I have not been a fan of Deion Jackson, bro. And I get it. Don't get me wrong. Zach Moss ran hard for us. He ran hard for us last season. But Zach Moss got traded for a reason out of Buffalo. He ain't that dude, bro. I like him in short distances.
He's a power back.
Yeah,
he's power back.
But it's speed and elusiveness, no, they don't have that. I want to see the kid. You want to. If we're okay with going with Anthony Richardson, then we should be okay with going with Evan Hull. Like,
I mean, I'm cool with that
because the screen game, the short passing game, the read option, all that's more formidable with a kid like that. Just my thoughts. So my 1, 2, 3 would be Hull, Moss, Jackson. I'm just not a Deion Jackson fan, bro. I'm just not. There's no knock on him. That's just like I see 35 back there, and I'm like, I'm like,
I was never a big Adai fan.
No, I get it. Yeah, facts.
Yeah, so I understand.
Yep. Okay, let's go to the receiving group. the shortest ones on
the shortest ones.
The two receivers we got.
So Pittman, Pierce, Josh Downs, McKenzie, active roster guys. And I mean, we shallow here. A lot of teams come in the door with 6. We got 4. But what Chris also stated is don't think of positions almost in the sense of traditional. That's what I was picking up. So in basketball, they have a lot of positional. Shit. Wait a minute. Positionless. There we go.
Wooden leather.
Yeah, wooden leather.
Yellow
wooden
rubber,
leather,
baby.
What?
A bullshit?
Okay. No. No, but yeah. So in basketball, they have a lot of positionless players, positionless basketball. So anybody can play anywhere. Yeah. So what he was alluding to when he was talking about his tight end group is like, I mean, you might see Will Mallory in, spread out wide position because unless you were under a rock, that was, PFF's number 1 rated rookie during the preseason. Dude was balling. So I get it. We would like to see 5, 6 names here, but perhaps because we got 5, 6 names on the tight end side, then totally we got 10 people to catch the ball. So the only thing is what happens if an injury happens, right? Then you're super shallow. So, but we'll just see. And he said we're not done. So I don't know what that means because this was the first 53. But there's a lot of position groups as we get to them that are beefed up. And so they might start trimming the fat a little bit and then make roster spots for other guys. But with this 4, I don't want us to rank them as far as like the league goes, because who knows? But are we comfortable with the names we got at receiver, knowing that this is a passing league now? Are we comfortable with these 4 names? Patrick, you go first.
Yeah. I'm pretty comfortable with them.
Yeah.
I mean, we know what Pittman can do. We know Pierce has got a high ceiling. He just needs that quarterback that can reach that ball out to him.
He just need to catch the damn ball.
And then he needs to catch it. Right.
Let's do that.
But he's got a high ceiling.
Okay.
Absolutely have 100% faith in Downs and McKenzie in that slot.
Oh, Downs owes me one too, because Anthony put a good pass on him. He dropped that shit.
He did.
You could see the exasperation in his face, so he was not happy about it.
Anthony also threw 90 mile an hour too at a 5'11" dude.
Hey, like they tell you when you're a kid, hit your hands, you're supposed to do what?
Catch it.
All right. That's all I heard.
That's it. Yes, sir.
But your alignments, all you do is bite down on your mouthpiece and try to tackle people. So it's a whole different thing. Those are for the skillless big dodos. Y'all are the big skillless dodos. Go out there and hit people.
Excuse you.
Okay, coach. I go get them.
Get the ball. Get the ball.
Look, headbutt people with no helmet. I go get them, coach. I go get them.
You know what? USOB, at least I was tall enough to play football.
He said I wasn't tall enough. You know what? I resent that. Look at Deuce Vaughn. Deuce Vaughn is smaller than me.
Smaller? What the
Yeah,
hell is
dude.
smaller?
Smaller.
You said smaller.
Smaller, whatever. Look, man. I haven't eaten dinner tonight. Get off me, bro. Leave me alone. All right. Anyway, wide receivers, we're good. We're happy. Casa, you like the receivers? It's gonna work.
I'm not gonna say comfortable, but I'm content.
He content. So you want to see someone added?
Yes,
Yeah,
I like to see like. Okay, so I don't want to see a big veteran name come in and be like the savior of this receiving core, but I would like to see a veteran. I like to see a veteran come in and like really coach these guys up a little bit.
well,
I know
Robbie
Pittman's.
Robbie
I know.
Anderson got cut or waived or whatever. Maybe.
Yeah. So I mean, that's what I want to see. I don't want to see like a saving grace wide receiver by no means. We got the talent. I like to see a veteran presence in there just to be like, basically like Reggie Wayne and T.Y. Hilton back in the day. Something like that.
I don't even know if there's that even available, honestly. Now that I think about it.
I don't think so, but it's just my opinion.
Well, like, what's what I mean, like saving grace. I'm just saying, like that notable of a guy. I don't think that type of person's hanging out right now. Is what I was getting at. I could be wrong, but I don't think that there's a guy like that that's out there right now. That'd be like, oh shit, like let's say for instance, Hopkins was still available, right? Like you're like, oh shit, that's a saving grace guy. But Robbie Anderson wouldn't save anybody.
No,
we definitely need to get some depth back there. Some rotational pieces that can produce.
Absolutely.
But it's not going to be the ones that are just going to steal the show by no means.
I agree. I absolutely agree. Okay, cool beans. All right, so let's move to the next group. And this group, oh my god, this is the group of groups. Right? This is the
small army.
This has been the talk since honestly, like mini camp. Like how many tight ends were we going to carry? And we chopped off a lot of them. But this is what's left.
He cut 52 tight ends.
I mean, minimum. Like sheesh.
Yeah.
But this is what's left. Mo Alley Cox, Kylan Granson, Jelani Woods, IR, at least for the first 4 weeks. Will Mallory and Drew Ogletree. And everybody, and to include Chris Ballard, is ecstatic about Drew Ogletree being back. Because last year, he got hurt, couldn't play.
Man, Acosta was real high on him at training camp last year before he got hurt.
Facts. And so I think honestly, this is a formidable group. Now you look at this, and of course, you don't see a Kelsey, you don't see a Kittle, you don't see names like that are like the upper Darren Waller. You don't see the, oh my God, this is a freaking 1,200-yard guy with 12 touchdowns. But when you look at the collective, like they're a matchup nightmare. Yeah, because monsters. Not just because they're big though, they're a matchup nightmare in my opinion because they're all so different. Now, size is pretty much, other than what Kylan is probably the shortest, 6'2" and some change, 6'3". But everybody else is
I think he's right at 6 foot.
I think he's right at 6 foot 5'11". Yeah, he's small, bro.
Damn, damn tight end at 6 foot. Come on, man.
He's the smallest of the group. Right. Yeah, absolutely. I don't know.
All right, I'm gonna Omaha you for that because you're always right. Omaha! But he's gonna
solidify. My bad. You're right. Kylan Granson, 6'3", 242.
I'm also Clyde. Then there's that. But anywho, we'll stick on
Clyde, 4'11".
Bullshit.
Sorry when you're wrong. You just take jabs at people when you're wrong. That's fine. Huh? Live that way. But anyway, no, what I'm getting at though, this is
he was shorter than that, but he's just so small. I guess he looks short, but
yeah,
that's just me.
But they're completely different matchups. And then for teams that honestly like to play like we play with a nickel, that's a nightmare day. Can you imagine going from chasing Kylan Granson to chasing Will Mallory to, oh shit, Jelani Woods is back. He steps on the field at almost 6'7". Drew Ogletree is a freaking house. He's 6'4" and some change and just a monster. I'm like, bro, I'm tired as hell. Can you imagine Kenny Moore running around with all these dudes? Like, that's what you know what I'm saying? So
you want to see Ogletree truck that defender?
Yeah. You want to get short yardage. You want to move the sticks, and maybe the running game ain't really hitting, and they keying in on Richardson. And just pop passes to your tight ends and watch what happens. You know what I mean? So I think right now this is probably our strongest group without having a Pro Bowler in the group. You know what I'm saying? My thoughts. Okay, O-line. There's 45 of these guys. So we're coming into the season with 9 guys. Of course, we know the starters: Bernard, Quentin, Ryan, and I'm not sold on Will Fries, but Will Fries, Braden Smith. The unfortunate thing,
just a fun little fact, real quick.
What?
Since Pincer got hurt, Will Fries is now our backup center.
Yeah, I figured that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I figured that because it's usually a guard, and it wouldn't be Ryan Kelly. So they would probably move him over. Let's say Ryan Kelly went out, they'd probably move.
Actually, no, I think that. Actually, I'm sorry, I take that back. Wesley French is our backup center.
Oh well, never mind then. That changes. That keeps the structure of the line then.
Yeah,
that makes sense.
Yeah. That's
because I would say that Carter Odell dude would probably come in for guard, but never mind. That keeps the integrity of the line. But so the starters: Raymond, Nelson, Kelly, Fries, Smith. Like I said, I'm not really sold on Fries. Then Blake Freeland, we already know he got potential. Carter O'Donnell, we kind of just met him this year. Arlington Hambright, he's kind of been around for a little bit, and then Wesley French.
Mm-hmm.
So depth is depth, and apparently, we're not going to go spend the big money on Dalton Reisner or nobody like that. So we'll just see. But our starting 5, the core, with the exception of Fries, how do y'all feel about that? And I'm gonna say exception because that's just me. I'm not sold on him. Man, I miss Mark Lewinsky.
Yeah.
What are your thoughts? This is your area. This is your area of the game.
It is
where you love it.
The thing is, they've got the talent, they've got the skill set, they've got the size, they've got the muscles. They just got to put it all together. And last year they didn't. They wasn't working as a unit. They wasn't working as a team. It was bad. It was bad last year. I hated seeing my O-line like that. Hopefully, this Tony Soprano has really put a fire under these guys.
Say Tony Soprano?
Soprano.
I said soprano, you ass bag.
It's with an O and not an A.
He's definitely not the one from HBO. But anyway, continue.
We all know he's not, okay?
A cannoli.
Capiche?
Fugazi.
You sons of bitches.
But no, here's the thing, though, Pat. This is real talk. You're right. They have all those things. But the key is, how do they adjust? Now, let's be for real here. Because sometimes we don't consider this. How the hell do they adjust to dealing with a quarterback like Anthony Richardson? And they've been used to blocking for freaking immobile statues for the most part. I mean, Carson Wentz, he moved around a little bit, but nothing like this. Even Andrew Luck, by the time that Andrew Luck had inherited this line, he wasn't the athlete with his feet that he was 2012. You see what I'm saying? So, yeah, I mean, every now and then, the quarterback was steal them some yards. But this guy, adjusting to the RPO, like having to be more up tempo, because you see how fast we were going. Like when we got the ball going in Philly, like, dude, they were, you know what I'm saying? Like, is that going to be an adjustment? You know what I mean? Like, so yeah, these boys got to come in. You said they big and they got the muscles. They might need to get a little bit more in shape and get lean. They can't be out there. Maybe that's why Quentin Nelson had back-to-back penalties. Because
wow, he was downfield on one of them.
Yeah, because he was trying to, like, you got to start faster. With an RPO quarterback, you got to start faster, bro. Like, everything has got to be, a little bit quicker. So,
we've seen how fast Quentin can run. He kept up with JT for a minute. So,
yeah, well, that's true. But he's also had, back problems and whatever else he hurt.
I mean, what do you expect when you're 6'6", 350 pounds?
Facts. Okay. All right. We'll just see. It's a good test against Jacksonville. That's a young defense. They got some talent. So we'll see. That's all we can do is wait and see. All right, cool. Now we move to your side of the ball. I got him, coach. I get him, coach. Defensive line with all your favorite players on the team. So This is what we listed. We're carrying 10 of these boys. Jesus Christ. You want to talk about heat them up? They got 10 boys on. I mean, and we used to bringing in like 8. So we're +2 right now. All right. So we got Quiddy, we got Defoe, Grover, Sampson, Dale, Taekwon, your boy, I'm gonna just call him Double A because I don't want to destroy his name right now.
Addy Tomwa.
Yeah, that Taven Bryan, Mick Telvin Agium. I don't know who this guy is, and
Agium.
Eric Johnson the second. And then we even picked up the other guy. I think his name is Leland. We picked him up today, but he's going to the practice squad. So, how do we feel about this group? Have we liked Sampson in camp? Is that a direct replacement for Ngakoue?
I think so. I think it's a better replacement.
Whoa! The way you gave
serious?
Ngakoue,
Yeah,
the love that you gave him.
and
I gotta hear this, dude.
And I still love Ngakoue, but he was not a run stopper. He was a quarterback chaser. There's a difference when you can do both, and Sampson can do it. And you notice how I switched back to his first name real quick because I can say his first name better. Please take note of that.
Yeah, I did not pick up on that. Okay, got it.
All right. But anyways, yeah, he can definitely get to the quarterback, but he can also stop that run, and that's a big plus.
And the cover 3, I'm trying not to be funny here. It's not a run stopping defense like the way we play it with a small nickel. So this is gonna be interesting. So that front 7, front 6, and some change, I'd say, because really sometimes that other linebacker is Kenny in a way. But that front 6 and some change, they're gonna have to be active. But I'll let you speak. This is your favorite part of the team.
I'm done.
No, I'm talking about Acosta. This is his favorite part. This is where he used to play. He reminds us all the time that he was a defensive end.
You know, he was really just on the bench, right?
I don't know what he was, but
boy, I swear to God,
he could have said, "I was a quarterback through high school, and I did this, and I did that." But we know where he was at.
Oh my God!
Yeah, I was putting big people like you on their ass. Is what I was doing.
And here they go.
You was
all right,
touching
boys.
Whose ass?
Reel it in, folks. Here you go. Country. Do you like what you see? All 10 or nay?
Yes.
Excellent.
Now to say Sampson is better than Ngakoue, yeah, okay. But this defensive line, the front 7, is quicker than I've ever seen it.
Okay.
They get off the ball really quick.
I'll give you that.
And
they gotta play fast.
Of course, and I also played outside linebacker, which we're not really worried about. We'll get into it in a second.
It's not about you.
Well, no kidding. I'm just saying, like, we don't have to worry about that position. Is what I was going to say.
Hey, you know what? He's a grown man. If he wants to go down memory lane, let him go.
Okay.
I do live that life too much.
And with that, we'll move to linebackers. We're getting there, boys. We're almost there. All right. Linebackers, of course. Shaq, Zaire, EJ, Grant, Cameron, and I was actually surprised by Alubi. Alubi was decent. He kind of needs to work on his coverage, but I think because he'll be like Grant was a lot last year, running up and down the field and doing a lot of special team stuff, he'll have to kind of watch and get better through practice or whatever. But I mean, Shaq, Zaire, EJ, that's formidable. Now, I think I might have liked Shaq, Zaire, Bobby a little bit more because Bobby was just a freak of nature. But I mean, EJ has grown on me because when we first got EJ and I thought about how people looked at him, I was like, bro, I don't see it. But EJ's been around for a while now. And this is like year 4 or something. Like, I don't know. But early on, I was like, I don't know about this guy, but I see it now. I'll give him his due. I'll see it.
Honestly, if they ever do, like if they switch up a scheme and do a 3 linebacker set, I don't want to see speed. I want to see Grant.
Pat, you care to mention what you called him with Adam Rank? What'd you call Grant?
Fluffy?
Fluffy what?
Fluffy butt.
No, you did not.
Hey, that's what
weirdo.
That's what my wife calls him. That's what my wife calls him.
That's what HR calls him, so that's what I call him.
Yeah, that's
if HR can say it, I know I'm not getting in trouble.
If Grant ever comes on here, I'm sorry for him. To the left. All right. We got 2 more positions.
You know what me and Acosta missed on that D line? How much faster Dio has gotten.
I just said it's quicker.
You were talking about.
Where
I
do
know,
you be, Pat?
I want to sing.
Like-
I wanted to single him out,
Oh,
and I'm
my
telling you, mark my words. Now he's going to have a huge year.
God. All right, awesome.
Huge.
Remember last week?
I meant to bring that up.
Breaking news.
Sorry.
All because you're friends with his mom on Twitter doesn't mean you got to kiss any butt. Okay.
Oh, I'm kissing it all.
What the hell?
my God.
All right, here we go.
You can't stop me, baby.
We're getting out of here. Okay, so cornerbacks: Kenny Moore, Daryl Baker Jr., Dallas Flowers, Julius Brents, Jalen Jones, and Tony Brown. Now, I will say this. I am not what Chris Ballard is, but Chris Ballard is a person that scouts and puts the team together. I am not a fan of Tony Brown. I'm just not. And I get it. He said he works his tails off. He competes. I really wanted to see Rush here, but he's not here. We got Tony Brown, and I'm just not sold on Tony Brown. I haven't been ever since he's been on the team. That's just me. Anywho, but how do y'all feel about that?
Young, but talented and potential.
Yeah,
We're
so
good.
I think it's definitely going to be Daryl Baker and Dallas Flowers that start on the edge. Kenny Moe is definitely nickel.
Still the nickel for sure.
Yeah, and then we'll see how it plays out. Okay. Yep. And last but not least, another fun group: Julian Blackman, Rodney Thomas, Nick Cross, and then your boy Acosta. You mentioned him a lot last year, Trevor Denbo.
I didn't mention him.
Yeah, you did last season.
That was not me.
Okay, whatever. One of you big bastards mentioned him. It wasn't me. I'm gonna say it was Patrick. Patrick, was it you?
I would say it was Carvey.
Yeah, I don't think it was me.
We can go back and look at the tape. Who am I? I'm Clyde. I'm never wrong.
When you do that, let me know. Let me know.
Yeah,
who's
okay.
right.
It's not about you, Clyde. It's not about you.
In this case, it is about me.
It's always about Clyde. Have you not figured that out yet?
I mean, yeah, he's going on his 21st vacation here in a couple weeks.
Trips, boys. Trips is part of my lifestyle. Get it right. Don't be a hater. But before we get out of here, how do we feel about the safety group?
Strong.
And
What?
Okay.
Athletes,
Yeah,
bro.
they are. They're just
dogs.
young. They're just young.
But that's what you
They're
like.
hungry.
That's what you like.
I do
You
like
were kissing you were kissing Rodney Tommy's ass last year. You were kissing Nick Cross's ass.
Why
I
we
mean,
gotta
come on, bro.
Are you jealous
Why
I
we
don't kiss your ass?
bro, you know what? I'm about to listen. Stop.
I didn't do it.
Jesus, Pete.
I was just trying to talk, and he's the
A
one over here
football
wanting
show.
to kiss somebody's ass.
It is a football
show.
It
Now
is.
Stop it. Now y'all playing too much grab ass in the locker room. Stop.
Whoa.
Stop it, both of y'all. Okay. Are we better now? Are we good? Sounds that way. So we like do we like our safety room? Look at this guy. Is he stoned? CBD. Brought to you by Pat Me.
Ain't yet.
Do we like our quarterback room?
I will be when this camera clears off.
Our
Yes.
safety room. Do we like our safety room?
Yes.
Okay. And with that, Sammy, get us out of here.
And that's a wrap. Hope you don't miss us too much until next time. Follow the Sick Podcast and Bill Show on YouTube, Instagram, Facebook, Google Play, and Apple Podcasts.